And welcome back to Game Escape. Here today with a little bit of a rant video. I saw the Nintendo Direct earlier this month and was actually a little bit interested and excited about some of the titles that they presented. And when I went onto the Nintendo eShop, I was hit again with the realization that, you know what, the Nintendo eShop is extremely overpriced. Now, you're going to say to me, well, look, so is PSN, so is Xbox Live, and that's absolutely true. But in light of the news that's hit here in the first part of 2014 about Nintendo and their financial situation and their market position, it is absolutely baffling that they continue with these, quite frankly, archaic pricing models on their digital service when better alternatives are around. And I really think they could use the eShop and use some kind of innovative thinking about their back catalog and create ways of sort of driving business to the product. So we'll get to that, but the first game that came out, or at least that was discussed on the Nintendo Direct, was Inazuma 11. Now, this is a series that has kind of been on the radar for me. I know it's been around for a long, long time. I want to say that I first heard about this on the Super Famicom. Was there a Super Famicom game? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, I know a lot of people like the Nintendo DS versions of these games, and I never really imported them, so I was excited. Finally, we get them here in the States. I know they've been released. I think the 3DS or the DS series was released in Europe, so and then that was in English. But anyway, I looked on there, and quite to my surprise, the game was $20. Now, this is not a new game, as I understand it, and maybe fans of the series might correct me if I'm mistaken. But, this is a game that appeared on the DS. So $20 seems like quite the stretch. Nintendo seems to me to be caught in this situation where, all of the games that we put on the eShop, particularly old school Nintendo titles, they're worth whatever we're charging for them, even if the consumers potentially bought the game 3 or 4 different times. And quite frankly, I will never pay $4.90, or I think it's $4.99 for an NES game to play on my Wii U, and $7.99 for a Super NES game. To me, that is absolutely crazy. And what Nintendo doesn't realize is that their competition is not Sony and Microsoft. You can get PS1 games on the PlayStation Network for, I think, also maybe $4.99. I haven't bought one in a long, long time, and I think I've only purchased some actually games on the Japanese PlayStation Network for the PS1, so I don't really know what they charge here in the States. But anyway, that's not their competition. What they have to realize is their competition is the emulation scene. Now, I know what you're going to say, well, look, that's illegal, and it's unethical, and you're right, but it's also possible. And if you're going to confront the consumer, now I'm not talking about the families with the 5-year-old kid who wants to play Mario or Zelda. I'm talking about the kind of educated gamer who knows what's out there. If you have the choice of paying $7.99 to play an SNES game on your Wii U, or paying nothing to play the same game on your computer, on your Ouya, or whatever other devices you can get to run Super Nintendo games, which, by the way, is just about every device, I mean, the choice is clear. Especially if you bought the game in the past, or if you own the game, there is no value to the customer just to be able to sit down and play it on the Wii U. Oh, yeah, of course, you've got the separate screen if someone wants to watch television, but, you know, that's not the biggest draw, especially if, you know, you already have a mobile device that can play emulated games, which, you know, that's Android. So it kind of reminds me of the early days of torrenting. I remember back in maybe 2005, 2006, at the advent of torrenting, or at least at the advent of torrenting for me, I had a friend who was always was ahead of the curve. You know, he was the first guy to use Napster. He was the first guy to burn CDs in 1998, you know, stuff like that. He had introduced me to torrenting, and I thought to myself, you know, wow, this is interesting. And in those early days, you know, it was really appealing to download the latest PC games for free. And then Steam came along, and what Steam did, and this is what was so brilliant about them, is they saw, you know, the fact that you had this piracy issue, a massive piracy issue with PC games, but you also had the equally destructive issue of really oppressive DRM, if you think back to things like Tages and Secure ROM. And what Steam did, in my opinion, was they saw both as their competition. They had to be better as a DRM solution than things like Secure ROM, but they also had to create a service that was better to use than torrenting, than ISOHunt or Pirate Bay. And they did that, and the results have been incredible. I mean, they are insanely profitable now. And think about it. I mean, yes, you can still go and torrent a PC game, but Steam is a nice piece of software. It organizes all of your games. It has a friends list, community interaction, and above all, it has reasonable prices. So yeah, if you want to get a game day one, you're still going to pay full price. But if you don't want to do that, and you can wait, I mean, the Steam sales are incredible. So I would much rather pay $4.99, $5.99, $6.99 for a game, even if I have to wait a little bit to play it, rather than torrenting it. I'm on the right side of the law, and I have what is a really, really, I think, nice PC gaming solution in Steam. That's what Nintendo has to do. Nintendo has to look at their back catalog and say, you know what, we're not going to get anywhere charging $5 for an NES game. They need to, I think, move towards a subscription model and put sort of incentives and like a gamification scheme within that model. What do I mean? Well, you know, let's look at something like the Miiverse. The Miiverse is, I think, a really, really nice social gaming system that is terribly underutilized. What they should do, in my opinion, is come up with sort of a subscription service, maybe $5, $6 a month, and give you access to 6 classic titles with some incentives in them. You know, very, very difficult incentives. You know, do a speed run on this level, collect all of the items, you know, finish the game in X amount of time or without dying, or, you know, whatever you can think of, and create a community around those challenges using Miiverse, and actually have some reward for the player. So, for example, you can say, well, you know, if you hit all of the challenges, you know, we're going to give you Club Nintendo coins, or we're going to give you eShop credit. Maybe you actually want to buy this title. You know, in this scheme, I would imagine you'd get the 6 free classic games a month with, you know, maybe 3D enabled on the 3DS, second screen capability on the Wii U, things like that. And let the community that's there on Miiverse, you know, react to these challenges, post screenshots, come up with little mini strategy guides, come up with, you know, a system that makes playing these games new and interesting. And you're not going to do it just with the game. You know, you are not going to, I mean, if it's just a matter of playing Super Metroid, you know, I can play it on a number of devices. But if I can have unique challenges, and I can watch people play it, and I can view strategies of people out there who have, met a lot of these challenges, that to me would be a great $5 or $6 spent every month. It would offer tremendous value, and it would be something better than like NES Remix, which, has that sort of kernel of an idea behind it, but that is just, ultimately I think a rehash for $15. So Nintendo, use what you have, use the Miiverse, use the back catalog, and just do something different and save your business. Thanks for watching Game Escape, and I'll be back shortly with another video.